ask for your guidance to be with him. Even the witnesses, as they testify, let them testify as to the truth. Father, we pray that this hearing will yield the results that we intended for. We thank you in Jesus' name.
Amen. Sergeant, there's a witness is not open. Where right hand? After me.
Lawrence,
I
Lawrence,
do hereby swear
do hereby swear
testimony I'm going to give
testimony I'm about to give
is the truth,
is the truth,
so nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Right hand to me. Mr. Chair, a member of the committee, William Carver for the stand. Thank you. So as a co-chair to give the guidelines for this hearing. Honorable co-chair, the guideline procedures for the hearing.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon, colleagues and nominees. So, I'm going to chair to welcome you to this hearing. Power is key to our economic growth and so much importance to our economy. So, since the 55th, this is our first interaction with you, so we can understand the status of our corporation. So we have the regulatory authority, and the operator. The 2015 law unbundled the sector into the policy, regulation, and the operation. So we will start by asking the regulator the overview of the sector, followed by one of the operators, the key operator of the government. Then each senator will be given 5 minutes to interact. If there's additional time, then you can always come back. So that's the protocol for the hearing. So, yeah, Mr. Chair, I think we can start by William on our oath. We are doing that. Then we self-introduction.
So we'll do the self-introduction, Senator Jara, on your side.
Introduce yourself.
Just my right hand man before I talk. My name is Senator Councilor Joseph Jara, Senior Senator of Local County, Chairman of Local County Legislative Caucus, Chairman Banking and Currency. Okay, let me stop there. I'm happy to be here as guest of the hearing. Mr. Manuel Dunquay, Senator of Banking County, Chairman of the Corporation.
Chief?
It's not working. My name is J. Glover Brown. I represent Maryland County, the Liberian Senate, former chair of Public Corporations, and chair on Rules of Order Administration.
My name is Amara Connor, Senator from Buffalo County, Chairman on Public Accounts, Expenditures, and Audits.
Albert Tube Chair on Grand Crew, President for Temporary Emeritus and co-chair of this committee.
And my name is Senator Simeon Boyman Taylor from Grand Cape County, Chair on the Senate Committee, Lands, Mines, Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources. So at this point, we will start with a regulatory chair to give us an overview on the LEC. Thank you, Honorable Senators. My name is Lawrence Sukajibo. I'm the Chairman of the Board of Commissioners for LERC. Honorable Senator, to specifically answer your question, LEC has some problems. LEC has problems, and we're all aware of. Today we are rationing electricity because of the inability to generate and distribute electricity. We are aware of that. Every dry season, we sit with LEC, or before the dry season starts, September, go through what needs to be done so that we don't run into these problems. And in September, we went through LEC's operations. We were assured that this year we now have the problem because we were expecting to get electricity from the Ivory Coast, 50 megawatts as of January 1st. And unfortunately, we did not get it because our government was owing the Ivory Coast. And because of that, they put a stop to sending power over the border. The dry season for this year is extremely unusual compared to what it used to be. The hydro, we get daily reports from the hydro, from our engineers, to let us know what's going on at the hydro. The hydro water level is very low. And there are times that you cannot even operate the hydro more than 4 hours a day, or else you burn the turbines. The next thing is the power plants at the Bush Road. Some are down due to mechanical problems, and some are down because of other problems. And so we start with LEC. But the main issue, Honorable Senators, is that because we are not paying our bills, power is not coming over to Liberia. Number two, the technical problems. The hydro is very low. The water level is very low. And if you insist on running the hydro, you will burn the turbines. And in the end, we'll have nothing. So as regulators, we monitor the problem. And we have daily conversations with the operators to ensure that we can resolve those issues. So we've come up with some recommendations that will help us the next dry season so we don't run into these issues. Because we owe the Ivory Coast, we've recommended to LEC, look, when you sell the power, set aside a percentage of the sale in an escrow account that you can use over the year to pay down the debt at LEC or at the TIE. And Honorable Senators, the imbalance between electricity supply and demand, LEC increased its customers' connections. They've done that. When you compare LEC of what we have today to LEC what we have a year and a half ago, is a difference between daylight. I mean, complete difference. When we had the ESBR running it, we had nothing going on LEC. LEC capacity has over 250,000 capacity customers. So as the demand grows, the supply is not there to meet the demand because of all the technical problems I've alluded to. So one of the things that we need to do, is we must focus on domestic generation because there are risks associated with relying on international, generation. If tomorrow Ivory Coast decides it's not going to support Liberia with electricity, we'll have nothing. So what I will implore you honorable senators, is to look at our national budget. How can we fund the energy sector so that we don't run into these problems? Because the problem here is, honorable senators, is money. We don't have the money. So every day we monitor LEC, every day, to make sure that it's there. But there's nothing. You can't make electricity out of anything when there's no water. So what I would also want to recommend is that we create an enabling environment to attract independent power producers to boost domestic supply in Liberia. So to sum up what I've just said, honorable senators, the problem with LEC is that we don't have the electricity or the power because we are not able to generate and distribute because our water level is low, and the outsiders that we're depending on cannot supply us because we owe them so much money.
You done?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Joseph, in my introduction, I said overview of the whole sector, not only LEC. We need to tell us a little bit about rural electricity, where we have distributors all over Liberia, everything renewable, the whole sector.
Oh, okay.
Not just LEC, that's the map for LEC.
Oh, okay. For renewable energy, I won't be able to comment on renewable energy because it's an established entity on its own. So the rural electricity,
You don't regulate it?
no, we don't regulate RREA. But when it comes to the southeast, Nimba, Bunk, yes. We have Jungle Energy Power in Nimba, and we've just licensed Jungle Energy Power to distribute electricity in Banga, in Bunk County. We also did that for Nimba, for Maryland, the southeast, for Maryland, River G, and Grand Julia counties. So those areas are functioning. I have my team going out next month to the southeast because they've come and they're giving us a plan. And based on that plan, we license them. So now we are sending a team out there to see what they've done since they got their license. So I hope I've addressed your...
I'm sure I stand by the senator to...
Okay, all right, sir. Okay, sir.
I guess, I know you got the letter that was received by Senator Cannon.
Yes.
Senator Cannon. So you're addressing that letter and you tell all the status of the LEC.
Yes, Senator, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the Senate. I prepared a statement, if you permit me to read it, that is a direct response to the specific issues that were raised in Senator Connell's letter. So I'd like to read that specifically. From my review of the document, the first issue raised was that LEC owes CI Energies, and because of that debt, CIE is not providing the power contracted by LEC under the power purchase agreement. Consequently, LEC is forced to engage in power load shedding. My response is that the conjecture is not totally accurate. For CIE reduction in power export to Liberia. This reduction in export to Liberia is due to the unavailability of 3 of CIE's generation plants, namely Azito 3, Azito 4, and Cipro 5. As a result of this situation, Côte d'Ivoire has reduced its export of power to Mali, Burkina Faso, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea.
Do you have copy for us?
Copy of
One will,
yes.
yeah, please.
I only have one copy extra.
Yeah.
So Chairman, it seems that that extra copy, oh, sorry. Exports to Burkina Faso have been reduced from 100 megawatts to 30 megawatts. In Mali from 80 megawatts to 10 megawatts. While both Liberia and Sierra Leone have been kept at 27 megawatt each. Internally, CI Energy has implemented load shedding of its industrial sector to alleviate the situation and allow tariff increases totaling 25%. Now to the payment of CIE energy bills. Liberia is responsible to pay 3 separate CLSG associated bills. First, and as a precondition for the signing of the PPA, CIE demanded that Liberia pay the legacy debt for the cross-border power provided to Liberia since the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, when of course Senator Connor was Minister of Finance and Development Planning. During the negotiation of the power purchase agreement in 2022, the government of Liberia agreed and assumed the legacy cross-border debt and agreed to a payment plan. Secondly, LEC must pay for current energy consumed, which in the dry season averages around $3.8 million a month. Thirdly, LEC must pay transmission charges to Transco CLSG for use of the CLSG transmission line at an average of 2 cents per kilowatt hours, normally averaging $450,000 per month. Based on these large payment commitments and LEC's financial standing, the government of Liberia agreed to provide the amount of $46 million in the 2023 national budget to allow LEC to pay the cross-border legacy debt, pay current energy bills from CIE, pay Transco CLSG for the transmission charges, purchase of heavy fuel oil, and purchase strategic spare parts for Mount Coffee. Based on the importance placed on energy in the budget, and after vetting by the IMF and the World Bank, both multilateral institutions agreed to provide direct budgetary support to the government, including SDR's drawdown. Despite the provision of budgetary support from the IMF and the World Bank, the government only paid $8.958 million out of $46 million budgetary commitment made to LEC, while at the same time incurring an accrued debt to LEC of over $12 million that is yet to be paid. Our current accounts are as follows. Our cross-border debt was $12 million. We have paid $3.7 million, leaving a balance of $8.367 million. That is the legacy debt. Transco, which is for the transmission charges, we have been billed $6.6 million, out of which we have paid $5.6 million, leaving a balance of $924,000. CIE, which is for the current energy that we consume, we were billed a total of $20.2 million, out of which we have paid $14.6 million, leaving $5.6 million balance. Contrary to Senator Connor's claim that LEC owes CIE close to $17 million. LEC owes CIE $5.6 million for the energy it consumed, which in fact is the government of Liberia's commitment and not LEC. Government owes an additional $8.3 million balance for the legacy debt, which started accruing as far back as I mentioned, a bill which was never paid by the Ministry of Finance. Nevertheless, I'm pleased to inform this committee that with its limited resources, LEC has paid $7.2 million, while the government has paid 7.4 of the bills from CIE for current consumption against a total billing of $20 million, thus leaving a current balance of 5.6 as of January 2024. LEC has also paid over 90% of the transmission charges in the amount of over $5 million, leaving a balance of $930,000. These payments amount to approximately $12 million, which were paid solely by LEC from its own resources, while the government paid about $8 million and yet ran a bill of over $12 million with LEC. So in conclusion to the first allegation made, CIE did not curtail energy simply because of supply to energy, simply because of non-payment of invoices. If I may reiterate, we have paid $14.6 million out of $20.2 million. The second issue raised by Senator Connor is that Woni Captain, as chairman of LEC, convened a board meeting and appointed himself as CEO. Woni Captain was appointed by President George Weah as CEO on July 1, 2022, in a letter of reference GMW/MOS/RL/230/2022. Permit me, Mr. Chairman, to present a copy of this letter.
You have enough copy for all senators?
No, sir. My apologies.
No problem.
I would also like to clarify that as of July 22nd, 2024, the tenure of the entire board of LEC expired. Presently, and I had prepared this statement prior to the appointment of the board, but at that time, LEC did not have a board of directors, and neither was I chairman of the board after January 22nd. The third issue raised by Senator Connor is that Woni Captain signed a contract with LEC to get paid as a consultant through the $96 million loan portfolio with the World Bank. The $96 million loan portfolio is not LESAP as claimed, but the respite project for the solar power plant and Marcoffee Hydro expansion. My contract is therefore not funded under the $96 million World Bank respite financing project. However, under LESAP, which is a $64.2 million program that is part grant and part credit, there is component 3, technical assistance for institutional reform, capacity building of sector institutions, and implementation support to LEC. Component 3, subcomponent 3A provides for management support to LEC, which was used to pay for the management service contract at a cost of several millions of dollars. It was agreed between the bank and the government that support for a management service contractor would be replaced by hiring 2 senior executives at LEC, namely the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Operating Officer. Both positions were procured under World Bank procurement guidelines, leading to my engagement as a contracted Chief Executive Officer. My contract was signed by the Minister of Mines and Energy as the sector minister and representative of the government. It expires at the end of November of this year. Allow me to note that despite being, and let me clarify also, that LEC has never paid me for being a CEO. Not at any time. Allow me to note that despite being appointed as CEO by President Weah in July of 2022, I later submitted to a World Bank procurement process that led to my engagement as a contracted CEO financed by the World Bank. This process was necessitated by President Weah's rejection of the short list of candidates recommended for CEO and the agreement of our development partners. I want to emphasize to this august body that the local management team has only overseen LEC for 1.5 years. After 10 years of foreign management, when we took over LEC, we inherited a debt of $9 million with EcoBank. We inherited several months of deferred employees' salaries and benefits, while none of the thermal generators at LEC Bushra plant were functional, not one. Today, we have paid off the $9 million to EcoBank. We are current with salaries and benefits to employees. And all our thermal generators were repaired, and most are currently working on contributing to LEC's power supply today. We also met a stalled negotiation process for the CLSG PPA, which we resumed and concluded within only 3 months after a 2-year stalemate between ESBI management and CI Energies. Our power inputs through the CLSG have significantly improved our supply of power to the national grid. Despite all our efforts, we are constantly blamed for legacy issues that go back over 10 years, that we met and have assiduously worked to address. This is our country, and we will never fix it if we don't come together and help each other to deal with the challenges of development. Finger pointing and false allegations are not what we need, but your support as our legislators to overcome the current challenge we face together. Before concluding, Mr. Chairman, I circulated a file that I wanted to demonstrate the very unique situation that we find ourselves in. If you refer to the very first document, it shows you the inflow of water into Mount Coffee this year compared to last year. If you look at the graph, last year, around this time, our inflows were between 100 and 150 cubic meters per second. Today, they are all the way down to 16 and 17 cubic meters per second. We have never had this kind of an inflow at Mount Coffee. So this rainy season is one of the most severe ones that we have ever had. Last year, at this time of the year, Mount Coffee was far more productive than what it is today. So part of this is not a caused by management and could not have been perfectly anticipated. There is a second graph that shows you the 3 sources of generation we have. The bottom one is CI energy, what we get from CLSG. And then you see 4 bars at the bottom. Those 4 bars, that's all Mount Coffee is contributing. And the top shaded area is what our generators, our thermal generators, are providing. Currently, LEC has to consume 1,500 gallons per hour to run our generators. And as you know, Honorable, no company in Liberia will credit fuel. Fuel is a cash commodity. We have to pay for all of the fuel that we are consuming. And then the last page is our income statement for the year 2022, 2023, and our projections for 2024. If you look at the year 2022, when ESBI was managing LEC, we had a net income and loss of $23 million that year. In 2023, we have reduced that loss to $11 million, basically cutting it in half. That is a result of the efforts made by us. And this year, the projection is planned to reduce by another $1 million for 2024, and primarily because of the very high spending we've had to make this year on the purchase of fuel. Honorable members of the committee, this is my presentation, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. They will be interacting with senators. They will ask questions and they will raise their concern. Please answer as they ask. Don't argue with any senators. Thank you. So, we'll start with Senator Amara.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. I would like to thank the chairman of LERC for the update. GTO. And also the Mr. Money Captain for his response to my letter. I want to be clear that my last date as Minister of Finance of Liberia was April 30th, 2016. The CLSG program became active here after we designed it and negotiated it and did all the ratification was in June 2017. So the insinuation that I was Minister of Finance and all these debts were accurate is inaccurate. I just wanted to clarify that. First, I want to go to Mr. Jibo. I have some questions for you.
Yes, sir.
In your statement, you attributed to some degree the lack of consistent electricity to our inability to service our obligations to the voters, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You said, and I quote, the main issue at LEC is their inability to pay their bills. End quote. So part of your power as a regulator is to enforce performance and compliance, correct?
Correct.
And to take appropriate steps in the case of non-compliance. Do you believe that the current supply condition and quality of electricity meet the performance and compliance requirement of your institution? Correct?
Not necessarily, understand.
Thank you. What have you done then to bring LEC into compliance?
We've sat with management, we reviewed their operational plans, and we made recommendations. But most of what you're referring to, Senator, if I may be correct, the inability to generate power, to generate electricity, It is not a regulatory function. Yes, we get to LEC to ensure that they put all the regulations in place to generate electricity. And there are hindrances that the CEO explained to you that cost power not to be for them not to be able to generate electricity to meet our demands.
Okay. Well, Mr. Chairman, one way to solve that problem, in my humble opinion, is for LEC to embark on or prepare a comprehensive system plan. System planning will enable LEC to project the demand, the supply, and the network expansion needed to serve the customers. If I can refer you to section 13.8 of the 2015 Electricity Law of Liberia, which states that, quote, the most significant function of LERC is to oversee the planning processes of licenses to ensure that the long-term plans of licenses are adequate and consistent with the national energy policy, end quote. Have you, Mr. Chairman, ever led a system planning process for LEC or any other operator in our country in the electricity sector?
Each operator has had their system plans.
And my question is, have you participated with them consistent with the law that created LERC?
I don't follow your question. I wanted to reply when I was saying it.
Okay, go ahead and I'll come back.
Each operator has a system plan that we review before giving them licenses. And we ensure that they follow that system plan on a continuous basis, annually, quarterly. There will be quarterly reports from each operator.
I understand that, Mr. Chairman, because section 13.8 says, in short, that the most significant function of your institution is to oversee is the key word for me, the planning processes of licenses to ensure that the long-term plans of licenses are adequate and consistent with national energy policy. That your organization should participate with them. Did you do that with LEC?
And I will answer in this way. This country does not have a national energy policy. We do not. We work with Mines and Energy to develop one, but there's no energy policy that has been brought to my attention in the last 3 years. I've been asked over and over for policy, national energy policy, we don't have as a country. And Honorable Senator, that's what our problem is.
We don't have?
No.
It can be true.
Well, I have not seen it. If you have it.
If you're not saying
If you have not seen it, then you have not seen it.
I've asked
But this law refers to a policy.
Yeah.
And the laws come out of policies.
Yes.
This country has an energy policy.
Of course.
And I urge you to find it. I think you can Google it and get it.
I will do.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Yes. Well, my last question to you is,
Yes, sir.
under the same 2015 Electricity Law of Liberia, the regulator, you, may undertake inquiries and investigations into the activities of the licensees. Have you undertaken any investigation into any of the licensees?
Yes, we've done that.
Who?
LEC. I can show you.
Can you share a copy of the report?
Let me see if I have a copy.
If you don't have it, you forward it
I
on.
will forward to you.
Please,
Senator.
we need a copy of that.
I will send it to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, can I? Okay.
time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Captain, thank you so much. When were you appointed as chairman of the board of directors of LAC?
August 31st, 2021.
Not July 7th?
July 7th was my nomination.
As chairman of the board?
Yes,
Okay. And you were appointed August?
August 31st.
Okay. At the time of your appointment as chairman of the board of directors, LEC was still under the management of the foreign company ESBI. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
When did the management contract of ESBI end?
July 22nd, 2022.
Thank you. It is my understanding that prior to the closure of that management contract, the board of LEC, which you chair at this time, hired a firm to competitively recruit Liberians for CEO and CFO. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And the company got back to the board that it did not find qualified Liberians both at home and abroad for the positions. Is that correct?
It said that they did not have any qualified applicant that was Liberian.
Okay. So then, when were you appointed as acting CEO?
I was appointed acting CEO. Let's see. July 1, 2022.
July 1, 2022. Okay. So the letter from President Weah here is on July 1, 2022. Is that the appointment you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you recollect when was the third quarter meeting, board meeting for 2022 of the board of directors held? Yeah, the third quarter board meeting.
I don't have the detail. I can't recollect the detail of that.
Will Tuesday, July 19, 2022 at 10 a.m. be accurate?
I cannot say it's accurate. I don't have that kind of memory.
Can you furnish us with the board meetings?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So Chairman, please, for the record, we need the board meetings for that meeting.
Can you please repeat the dates?
Tuesday, July 19, 2022 at 10 a.m. You chair that meeting also as chairman and acting and CEO. Also in attendance in that meeting were the Minister of Finance, Mines and Energy, count two of the decision from the sitting of that board. Hopefully you can share the minutes with the senators for this committee. Reads, quote, that upon the expiration of the management service contract, MSC, in parentheses, the chairman of the board of directors, Honorable Moni Arakaftan, shall assume the role of acting chief executive officer pending the appointment of the CEO by the president of Liberia. Is this correct?
Well, I told you I don't have the minutes with me, but the question I guess you're asking is, I don't know if you're raising an issue about the president's appointment.
No.
But I provided evidence that the president did appoint me to head LEC management. So I think the president, and that authority rests with the president, now with the board. So the president's letter will take precedence over any action of the board.
What I'm trying to point out, were you already CEO before the president appointed you?
No, could not be CEO before the president appointed me.
So the board meetings, when we found out from the board meetings, then you'll be lying on the oath, correct?
No, I'm not lying on oath. I told you, all you're asking me is for specific, accurate details that I don't have copies of to respond to you as you want.
Okay. We'll verify the dates when you give us the meetings. Now I would like to read a message allegedly sent by you to one of the panelists on a radio program or whatever. Remy Gray. Does that name sound familiar? On Spoon Talk?
I don't see how that is going to be an issue here.
Okay, no, I just want to, I'm laying the premise for my next question. And that message reads, Remy, sorry, I'm not too well, but I did receive a briefing of concerns raised. I, along with the COO, were competitively recruited through the World Bank process. My contract was signed by the Minister of Mines and Energy on behalf of the government with the approval of the World Bank. End quote. Did you send that message?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now to the contract. Was that contract signed on December 9, 2022 between you and the Liberian Electricity Corporation under the B-Star program? Thank you for the corrections. Under the B-Star program?
December?
9, 2022.
Yeah, December, yeah, 2022.
So then, you did not sign the contract with the government of the World Bank, correct?
No.
But that's what the contract says.
Where does the contract say? I have the contract in my hands.
So can we see the cover of the contract, the cover page? Can you share that with senators, please?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a World Bank funded contract. It doesn't say the World Bank contract. And the two signatories are here, so there is no way it's signed. The World Bank did not sign this contract.
Okay. Can we take a look, please?
Yeah, sure.
Who's that ahead?
Okay, I'm going to read this verbatim for the record. Liberia Electricity Sector Strengthening and Access Project, LISA, project number 3173416, contract agreement, contract number LR-LEC-262541-CS-CDS for Chief Executive Officer, Liberia Electricity Corporation, between the Liberia Electricity Corporation and Moniara Captain, dated December 2022, the World Bank contract. Consultancy Services Contract, LEC Chief Executive Officer, page 1. Do you believe that it is good corporate governance practice for the CEO to also be a consultant?
The CEO served as a contracted CEO, just as the previous CEO served. So I think that if there is a question of whether this is right or wrong, or there's a judgment call on this, I think the government of Liberia that signed it should be the one to answer that question. But you are blaming me for a contract that the government of Liberia sanctioned, that the government of Liberia signed. And if there is a problem with that, I think it's the government that should be the one to, and again, on top of that, I think if it was not good practice and it was not permitted, I don't think the World Bank would have even acknowledged this contract or even paid for it. I would like to give the World Bank more credit that such a, and just, I mean, sorry, I don't want to put the Honorable on the spot, but the former President Pro Tem was at the meeting with all of the donor partners, including the World Bank, when this matter was discussed, and there was general consensus among all of our partners on going in this direction. So it is not something I did under the table, something that was unscrupulous or hidden, or that might be. This was a general consensus. It was agreed upon. And it has a term limit.
Thank you. I'm not insinuating that you did anything on the table. I'm not insinuating that you did anything on the table. I asked you a simple question. Is it good corporate governance practice for us to consider for the future?
There are many companies, as a matter of fact, LEC management has been contracted, not only to MHI and ESBI. It was even during the Talbot administration, LEC management was contracted to Tata Power. It's not a new practice. If you go to Rwanda, the famous Rwanda, the head of the management of their utility is an Israeli. He's hired, he's a contractor. So if we think that this is the talent that can help us, and we are in agreement with that, I don't see a problem with that. And let me answer from my own personal perspective, that I believe that I'm able to professionally do what I have to do without any sort of conflict in terms of doing what I do for LEC. And I'll stand by my record. I have my contract is performance-based. There are KPIs stated in there. And if you review the KPIs that were set in this contract, I exceeded every one of them, not even by a small margin, but by a significant margin. And I met KPIs that foreign managers, foreign CEOs were unable to meet.
I have additional questions on load shedding, but I'll yield to my colleagues and come back.
Thank you. You have the full send and no.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay, so I'd like to start with maybe either Mr. Sega Kibo or Mr. Katana. From your presentation, it's clear that LEC does not have the capacity to produce the required energy. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, sir.
So, then my next question, what is the energy plan for our country? Since LEC does not have the capacity to produce the required energy, what is the energy plan for our country?
Yes, sir. For LEC, our specific plan, a twofold. One is to purchase electricity energy, and second is to invest in our infrastructure, our generation assets. Importing or purchasing can be through two means. One, we import from any of our neighbors, and very soon the West Africa energy market will be available, and we might be able to buy from any of the ECOWAS countries that have excess energy to sell. That is being quite advanced under the West African Power Pool. And so we will not be limited to Cote d'Ivoire in the future. The second way we can purchase power is if a private company comes to Liberia and set up shop as an independent power producer, of course licensed by LERC, and they have electricity to sell. We will buy from them as LEC. So, and I think that's what the energy law intended to do, was to encourage private investment in the sector. and where it would be a private investment in generation plant, just how LEC owns Mount Coffee. A private company can invest in a hydro, they can invest in generators, they can invest in solar, and they can sell to consumers in Liberia, users. So that's part one. Part two is to increase our own energy assets, and we are already on that course. We are focusing on two primary sources of electricity, solar and hydro, because to go by investing in more generators is not affordable. The cost of fossil-based fuel is not affordable at all. The price has doubled and tripled over the past couple of years. So, and because of climate change, most countries are transitioning to renewable clean energy. So currently, we have the Respite project under the World Bank, and we are investing in a 20 megawatt solar plant. This will be the largest ever utility-sized solar plant in Liberia. And we are now at the stage where, through the World Bank, we're evaluating the financial bids that came in. So we expect in a year and a half that we will be able to deliver the first utility-sized solar plant. Also under Respite, we're expanding the capacity of Mount Coffee from 4 turbines to 6, so we're going to increase the capacity of Mount Coffee by 50% of what we already have. The third plan we have is to build a new hydro upstream of Mount Coffee. That would be about 200 megawatts. A delegation is arriving in Monrovia, as a matter of fact, tomorrow from the World Bank, headed by the regional director. And part of their visit is to meet with the government, meet with President Boakai, and discuss their support to this project. They've already earmarked around 50% of the project cost, which is close to $300 million. And that project, the feasibility study, is almost complete. The final project, or the third major project, is to have storage. We have a lot of water. In rainy season, there's so much water, it should be able to supply us the whole year, but we can't store it. So it keeps flowing. So the idea is to build a via reservoir, and it's not a new idea, it's not just something that LEC or we are talking about. It's been talked about for decades. But the reason it has not been realized is that a via reservoir will cost you close to $1 billion. And you cannot get financing for a project like that. It is only for a small Mount Coffee of 8 megawatts. You have to create the business case, and that business case requires you having a cascade of hydro dams along the Simple River that would justify a storage facility. So that's where we're working towards. Every hydro we build, we want to complement that hydro with solar. Right now, what we do, for instance, today, we shut down Mount Coffee and allow the water to fill up throughout the day. We don't spill. And in the evening, we're able to get enough water to run Mount Coffee for about 4 hours only. Now, during the daytime, when we close Mount Coffee down, and we don't have use to it, we have to run these expensive generators. With the solar plant, we will be running the solar when the sun is up in the middle of the day, rather than the generators. Okay? And then in the evening, we can move towards hydro. And that is our plan going forward. So we think that with a combination of those factors, we can do that. But of course, Honorable, I think the most important fact to note is that LEC has one shareholder, and that is the government of Liberia. And the government as a shareholder is responsible for capitalization of the company. So investment into LEC cannot come from operating funds. It cannot come from selling tokens to small customers. This is major public investment in electrical infrastructure. And so part of that planning involves resource mobilization, whether it's financing, whether it's grants or whatever. It's a process that is not LEC alone that has to do that, but the government as a whole has to plan towards addressing this issue as a national problem. So it's easy always to say, oh, well, what is LEC doing? Why LEC can solve the problem? Well, it's not just an LEC problem. It's a national problem, and we all have to work together. All of the sector institutions have to work together to get there. As we speak today, There is load shedding in Guinea. As a matter of fact, Guinea is so severe that their MD just lost his job because of the load shedding. There's load shedding in Sierra Leone. There's load shedding in Ghana. There's load shedding on the industrial level in Cote d'Ivoire. This is not a problem that's unique to Liberia. It's a problem that West Africa is experiencing. And collectively, that's the only way we'll be able to resolve it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. The same question that I just answered. What you said shouldn't be an excuse, whether it's load shedding everywhere else, you can't discuss that. So, what's in the book? I had a question and I didn't want to come back. So, for both of you, while we are waiting for the dams and everything else, in the immediate term, we have understand that there is a power shift knocking at on your doors.
Yes, sir.
Where are we with that?
Well, I don't know if you want me to refer to that here, or I think it would be better if I do that in camera.
Okay. My next issue is that you want the president to discuss with the government of Cote d'Ivoire
Yes, sir.
to discuss the debt that was owed, to reschedule it so that they can increase power supply to us. How are the talks?
So again, sir, well, this was a bilateral meeting summit between two heads of states, and I don't know if I should report on the outcome of the discussions. But again, from what I know, I'll be happy to review the camera.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So I'd like to take off from where I start when the Puerto and Americas to make an intervention. I'm concerned about the monopoly that LEC enjoys. And it's not established that with such a monopoly, it's clear that we're not going to meet the energy needs of our country. Are you prepared for the energy market to be open? So that private investors can intervene in the market, generate power, and then supply or sell those power, or you prefer that they generate and sell it through you?
Sir, when I worked on the Millennium Challenge Compact, one of the preconditions for the compact was the liberalization of the electricity sector. And the legislature passed a law in 2015 that basically stripped LEC of that monopoly power that it had, and also the power of self-regulation. And one of the reasons LERC exists today is because that law was established, which allows LERC to license anyone, including LEC. So the only thing that prevents a private investor from coming is if for some reason LERC refused to license them. And it's not up to LEC. We are also the subject of license. We have to be licensed. Our license can be canceled. So, but yes, I would very much welcome that, because I think it's time that we all accept the fact that LEC on its own cannot meet all of the energy needs of this country. And it's proven in other countries. You go to other countries, you will see there are other service providers. And I guess the intent of the law was to create an environment for that to happen. But of course, if we want private investment in this space, we have to address one of the principal things that will discourage investors. And that is the environment in general. How do we deal with power theft? How do we ensure that the judicial process works for an investor? How do we deal with the issue of chronic non-payment of bills? Here, a small company like LEC now has almost $13 million arrears in payments from the government of Liberia. How are we supposed to survive? And if we were a private company, what would happen to us? So to answer your question, absolutely, I agree with you. I'm one of those that 100% support liberalization of the sector.
Okay, so that takes me to Mr. Silver Kibo. Since the law was passed, providing liberalization of the market, what has stopped you from attracting or licensing for foreign investors to intervene in the market? What are the problems?
Well, Honorable Senator, let me start by saying we worked with the Ministry of Mines and Energy, and we established a distribution network. We mapped out the country what we thought would be necessary to have individual private entities move into. And unfortunately, it did not materialize.
Why?
I have no idea. Sign off on it. Sign off on it. I have a copy of that. We sign off on it. We agreed on it. We discussed it. But the ministry did not push it. Why? I don't know. But when it comes to privatization, I think the only thing we cannot privatize is the transmission. Transmission, for me, is a national issue, security issue. But generation and distribution, we should be able to privatize those. So I would, like to suggest to the honorable body that this 55th legislature see it fit that we have open up the market.
Okay, so Mr.
I'm coming, Mr. Segadipo. You already said you came here and then you got a legislation to liberalize the market. Would you have, which is your weapon to use to liberalize the market? And from what you just stated, that you had a conversation, you agreed in principle to take certain steps for intervention in the market, but that was not implemented. Because I think, according to what you said, from what I gathered, is that your authority stopped at that point, and it was left with the sector ministry to advise it, and that was not advised by the sector ministry.
Yes, sir.
So they had to come back to the legislature. The only thing is unfair to come back to the legislature after we should have empowered you through an act of the legislature to liberalize the market, and actors in the executive sat on it, refused to go ahead.
Well, maybe I misspoke, Honorable Senator, but I think what we plan to do is to meet with the new Minister of Energy after he settled down a week or so that we can go back into the file, find those records, and see how we can implement them.
I think you need to talk to us in camera. You need to talk to us in camera. There's an issue,
Yeah.
Both of them know. They need to talk to us in camera.
No, but
They have made LEC to usurp their function and add as the regulator. That's the issue here, he knows. But
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
that's not correct.
Okay, let's talk about it tomorrow.
Okay, so clearly from what he presented, there are issues.
Yes.
There are issues. And because of those issues, we cannot move forward. We still have LEC as the domineering player in the market, holding on to almost all the responsibilities in the market. And that's why we are where we are.
Well, LEC is the national grid.
Yeah, because
LEC
you are talking about the sector minister. That sector minister is on the board of LEC as well, right? So if he's on the board, and the board takes a decision not to liberalize the market or not to approve for certain intervention, he's definitely not going to approve of any plan to open up the market. I think that's what the problem is.
I don't know about that. I would definitely
But what is
say
the problem? You are a principal player. You should be the regulator. You should be the regulator. You cannot say you don't know that there will be decisions taken for certain intervention in the market, and the Minister of Lands and Mines will start that process as a regulator, and you will say you don't know. You should be aware. There should be no excuse for that. And when you do these things, the backlash comes to the legislature that we are not doing anything. And whereas you came here, you wanted an act of the legislature to liberalize the market, and that was done. And you feel in the discharge of your responsibilities as regulator. And then you say to us, you don't know what happened. So please tell us what happened. Why is it that those interventions were not made or haven't been made?
And what I said, Honorable Senator, is that we did review it, we did come up with the plan, and it was not implemented.
So as the regulator, what did you do?
As the regulator, what did you do?
Our role,
Did you renege on your responsibilities?
no, we did not.
What did you do?
We contacted the ministry, the Ministry of Mines and Energy, and it just did not receive it.
Remember that you are
And I'm telling you what I know.
You
I'm not lying to you, Senator. I don't have any reason to lie to you on the whole.
Okay, so let me allow Senator Brown to make some intervention.
Thank you, Senator. I mean, this issue is something that we have discussed over and over and over. I think the LERC knows that. They said it, there's no need for you to say you're coming back to the legislature, because we already discussed it and we gave that decision that we needed to privatize or allow other providers to take over the distribution of powers. Because we saw that LEC had problems. LEC could not be, they have challenges in terms of generation, transmission, and then distribution. So we said, let's privatize, let's outsource some of them. We already made that decision. And when we check the law, Chief, when we check the law, the 2015 law that LEC enforced directly on labs, you have to issue the certificate, the lesson, you have to let the LEC. It is your authority. Now let's manage the energy minister. It is you. So you have to tell us why, because you give me the legislation, we have public hearing just as we are having, and we told you, reduce the burden on LEC. Advertise. Did you advertise and the minister query you for advertising? Did you take any step? If you read the law, that is your responsibility. That's your function. It's not the minister's function. That's what I'm going to say. Ask a question. Why? I mean, I'm conducting his question. What is the problem? You came here, we told you go ahead. It's not just today.
Why you did not inform us on
Maybe Honorable Senator, I could speak to you privately.
So go ahead.
Senator Brown, you done already?
No. You finished?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, I already done one of the issues, so I won't have to raise it again, but it's something that he said we will discuss it later. Let's do that. My first concern I have is two of you. This hydro. We had an opportunity. 1990 war destroyed the first hydro. Then we took loans, support, for the reconstruction of a new hydro. I heard the campaign talking about a World Bank team which is coming again for do studies for a new hydro. We just did a new hydro. Why didn't we, in the reconstruction plan of the current hydro, why didn't we foresee this? Why? That's the first question.
We did foresee it. The question of not having enough inflow is a problem that has always been there. And the only solution for that problem is to build the storage. And the location for that storage and the confluence of the Via River and the Simpo River is where it has been planned, and one administration after the other have discussed the implementation of that project. prior to the war, Mount Coffee in the dry season had the same problem. But one mines at the time
Used to supply.
used to supply.
Right.
And we had hoped that the CLSG line that was being constructed would have played that role to compensate. And it can still play that role because we are still developing the energy market. It's still early, it's in this very incipient stage. Tomorrow we'll see the value of having CLSG even more. But with how many options do we have? We have 3 sources of energy we can bring. We can buy more generators that require more fuel. We can invest in solar, or we can invest in hydro. And the World Bank has done a study called the least cost energy plan for Liberia. And all of the studies that have been done, all of our partners have told us that the most prudent place to spend your money when it comes to generation is in hydropower. It's not a new thing, but it has its challenges. And that's why we're looking at creating a complementary integration with solar so that the challenges can be reduced.
All right.
But if our next option is generators. Generators, generators.
So this mission that's coming for the possibility of a new hydro.
Yes, it's quite advanced. It's already committed to
So what is the new hydro going to have that this current one doesn't have?
Well, it will have a larger capacity, so it will be somewhere around 200 megawatts. Secondly, the technology it will use is a hybrid turbine that allows it to generate power at lower inflows. So as the technology advances, it becomes more efficient. So it's a Saxon hybrid, a Saxon hybrid that they will be using, and that should give us a longer period of generation. But it's not going to give us 12 months out of the year maximum output.
And we didn't consider that when we did the reconstruction of the hydro.
And that technology was not available. So the expansion of Mount Coffee now, the additional units that we'll be putting in will utilize this new technology.
So let me go specifically to Maryland.
Yes.
So before you go to Maryland, how long will it take to construct the hydro we're talking about?
The new one or the expansion of Mount Coffee? The new one, hydros will take somewhere around 7 years. But sir, a lot of the challenges it's not just the construction, if I can clarify. There are a lot of environmental and social issues that have to be mitigated.
I want to do a follow-up on 2 issues that I always raised with you concerning Maryland. The first one was you guys did some new construction of new installation transformers in People City, but they had not been commissioned. I want to do a follow-up. We're waiting for a company to take over. Now you have this service provider there. Has these transformers been commissioned?
However, I need to check on that and revert to you.
Please.
Well, I think, can I respond to that one more time?
Yes, please.
Next month, we are sending a team to Maryland to go and look into all this.
Yeah, please, because it has been a long time. These transformers were installed, they're just there as furniture. I mean, nobody can use them.
Well, license.
We have the Plivo Health Center that can I use. That's sometimes the generator and the transformer that is there is not sufficient to supply the hospital and the communities around. So most times suffer from shortfalls.
Yes, sir. We gave a public hearing in Plivo, and those are the issues that the citizens raised.
Okay.
And the operator now, Lib Energy, agreed that they're going to implement those, put those transformers into use. So now we're going the next month after the license to see what the status is.
Thank you. The last issue in Maryland has to do with there were towns. There was this odyssey when we wanted Plivo City home. I think it was doing one visit by the president. So several towns between Paco and Plivo were jumped over, and the current went directly to Plivo City. They always raised tensions. These communities always demonstrated in the past. And I always brought that to the attention. What are the plans now?
We have given instructions to the operator to ensure that those communities are connected. So we just need to follow to ensure that they will implement it.
Please do that. Thank you.
Senator General, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for this.
Please, Senator General, I will ask Senator McGill, please. Sorry.
Senator McGill from Maggie.
You know each other? No, yes, more or less. Thank you, Chair. Let me use the time to commend the team and to commend Mr. Captain that the World Bank was found confidence in one of the few Liberians to work with in trying to bring about services to some of our sectors. And the background to my commendation is that there are other corporations here who met. So they got 9 months salary arrears. And when you mention that you are quarreling everything, it was something to look into. So unlike maybe water and sewer, that's speaking 9 months salary arrears. You know, in the same, on the same street where you sit to run as a seat. So I don't want to start with that before I get into my interaction. Do you feel that you have a beef with Senator American and others because of your technical policy? Yo, answer all your questions, man. Don't say all your questions. All right. I hear your questions. All right, sir. The second one said, well, I believe that the issue of the plan of action that will help, you will need to do the best you can, Mr. Chairman. If, for example, the Minister of Lands and Mines has not been forthcoming and you attempted to do certain things, and then they come in to obstruct, you have to be clear, but you say you will say that to us in camera. Because otherwise you could just be held in the wrong direction by perception. So you keep asking for the, I don't call it in camera. But the new Senate is a Senate that has a transparency mode. We want everything to be in the public eyes and ears, so that we all become the judge for what services are rendered in our country. So if you ask for that and it's given to you, you got to make sure you have a very clear and clean report to provide that opportunity is given you. As a one of question. Now you talk about debt that we owe to Cote d'Ivoire, but anyway, that is also in camera because that is being reviewed. So basically, I just want to say that I don't want you mentioned the whole region as being in their paralysis. I listened to, there was a corporate on Facebook, a lady from Ghana, so accosting the president. Said we didn't like you to sleep in the dark and in the heat. And that's what we're going through Ghana. That people praise everything. After all, the Liberia was sleeping in the heat. But when the lady was on Facebook causing the president of Ghana, we elected you, and when you have to pay us back for we are sleeping in the heat and in the darkness, that's no matter. After I was just here, the other day I was in Nigeria, they were complaining about increasing everything. Almost every month. And when I was talking to, I saw one guy in the street coming in here that they're walking. I said, this is Nigeria that produces oil. What's about Liberia, poor country? Oh, okay. But please, try to give us electricity in the midst of all of the difficulties. Because the reason why we are standing up to the challenges right now, we have to make a difference. And I don't want for all to see that people are doing it because there's a new time. So that we will not abuse our time and you will not also kill your time. You will have to do your best. We'll give you more opportunity to come and explain. If we can have more resources, we should do that. But there was a lot we'll be trying to hear or we have heard about the performer LEC as though that was the only public corporation that was not living up to our expectation. I'm not saying you should compete with them not to live up to our expectation. But I believe that when I listen to your story, you can say 2 minutes out of my agree. Your story and that of water and seawater is something that at least I can give you more time to explain. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. Thank you. I want to start directly with the LERC. What is the functional authority of the LERC? Question. The functional legal authority for which the LERC was established by law by this legislation. What's the functional question?
Liberalize the energy sector to license all operators that come to the country and to monitor all companies that operate in Liberia producing electricity.
Does part of the authority include the authority to privatize distribution or any sector thereof? Question.
Yes, there is a part of it, yes.
So the last time I remember a year or so ago, you particularly representing the LERC before the Senate made representation to the effect that part of the problem with LEC or the energy problem was lack of privatization. And I remember I particularly made reference to a soccer game that we played in Gambasa, and I will repeat it. We went to play a game before the war. I was in Gambasa where I was born. We have one on camp. Our team was on camp and everybody was excited, all of the players. And then the goalkeeper, he said to the coach, Coach, we can beat the game tomorrow. The only problem we have is goalkeeper. And the goalkeeper was talking. Every time we talk about this LEC issue, every time we talk about some of the solution, LERC says part of the solution is privatization. You have the authority, we're giving you the authority by law. You have not done any such thing. Why shouldn't we recommend the president to fire you now? Question. He can be removed for cause. Even if he has tenure, I know that. No performance and all of that. Gross incompetence, they are ground for removal of cause. Why shouldn't we recommend to the president, declare vote of no confidence in you, and recommend to the president for your removal? Question.
I think it will not be a fair assessment of my performance. You can go back and review what I've done in the last 3 years, what I've taken LERC from, and where we are today, and where we're heading. So, yeah, the
example.
Where you took LERC?
Where was it and where is it now? And how is it being impacted, felt by the people? Question.
So why you refusing?
Where you took it from? And where you took it?
How many questions?
Same question.
Okay. We started the LERC in 2018 when LERC was established. So 2020 when I came, there were no regulations. Today we have over 20 regulations that we've established. We've trained our staff, capacity building.
Come for you.
I'm listening.
Oh, okay. So we've gone a long way. Now,
Sir,
yes.
we have a national emergency law, and for me, I won't go for too much explanation. Those 20 regulations you issued, that you took LERC from one place to another place now, give us something tangible. Let's see where you took this LERC from, where it is now that making difference. For which we should not recommend your removal from that place. Question.
Take Nima County, take Bond County, take Maryland County. There are private entities that are running the company, running the energy sector. LEC, where LEC was a year and a half ago, to where LEC is today, is due to those regulations that were put in place. The key performance indices that were set up for LEC to follow. And that's what we are today. Yes, I agree.
1 year ago, 1 year ago, LEC shared in power, and the hours for sharing the power was better than today.
Yes.
So how are you saying to me, and this body, in particular, and the people of Liberia in general, that today your regulatory authority and function have caused LEC to be better than yesterday?
Well, it's the conditions that we have today on our center. We have an unusual dry season that we did not have a year ago, that we did not have 2 years ago. Very unusual dry season. When you have the hydro that provides energy, provides the water, we can't even run the hydro for more than 4 hours a day. So those are unusual circumstances. When you go back to June, July, August, all of us were happy because of the rainy season. We have abundant of power. I'm not saying it is perfect. What I'm saying is there's room to develop, there's room to grow.
So I was suggesting that we know a problem. It is an annual yearly problem. And all of these decades, when will we solve this problem? How can we solve this problem? We know that there will be rainy season, and thereafter there will be dry. Liberia has 2 seasons, dry and rainy. Every time we reach to dry, we have the same issue. But let me not belabor this issue. Let me come to Mr. Money Captain. Mr. Captain, in order for Liberia to be serviced with current, what capacity are we looking at in terms of megawatt to service Liberia? Question.
We have a load forecast where over the next 10 years, we forecasted the growth in our load. Currently, for this year, our peak load, as we speak now, is somewhere around 90 megawatts. And we have an annual increase that we have done projections on based on the trend. Within 1 year, our load increased by 60%. And to have that kind of load increase, you must have a proportional increase in your supply. And unfortunately, if you recall when Mount Coffee was first put on, we were only using 1 turbine, 1 out of 4.
Mr. Captain?
Yes.
Let's go to the point.
Yeah, I went to the point. I said we're 90 megawatts peak right now.
So,
and
how many megawatts do we have now? When you put all together from our cross-border, from CLSG, from Aricos, and our own capacity, total, and HFO, what is capacity now in terms of megawatt? When you put all of these accumulatively together, question?
I'll give it to you.
So we have 126 megawatts.
No, we don't.
And then we have 35 megawatts imported from Ivory Coast. We have 8 megawatts cross-border.
Yeah.
We have 27 megawatts from CLSG. When you total all is 161 megawatts, correct?
No.
So what's the total megawatts that we have in the country? Question.
Let me clarify first. When you talk about how much megawatt, there's something called installed capacity and available capacity.
Okay.
Installed capacity of all of your generation that you have. It doesn't mean that they are all available to you. So for instance, if you take Mount Coffee, we have 88 megawatts installed capacity. We currently have one turbine down, so it's 66 megawatts that is, you can say basically, that is there.
That is what I asked.
Yeah, I'm sorry, out of the 6, that's what I'm saying, it's not A and B.
Sir,
Can you give me a chance to answer your question? Ask me a question, I'd like to answer it.
I'm the one asking you.
That's what I'm trying to answer you.
I'm the one asking you, sir. My question is, how many megawatts the capacity do we have now? Question.
That's what I'm saying. There's no such thing as how much megawatt. You either talk about installed capacity.
What's the capacity?
Or you're talking about.
What's the demand?
That's different. That demand is something else.
What's the demand?
No, so if you have
Do you
to.
need installed capacity?
No, I know what I'm asking. I know what I'm asking. If you have
So the one that you have available to
if
give
you have 2 megawatts, that's your capacity.
If you take the reason I'm being careful with answering that question, because if I tell you we have this, you will assume immediately that's what I have to give.
No.
And that's the difference.
No,
So
don't assume for
what
this.
I have now is if you take all of our installed capacity, including the turbine that's not functioning, that's 151 megawatts.
Very well. So what is your supply capacity right now? What's in supply?
So currently,
That's where I'm learning to.
yeah. So what we can supply varies depending on the time of the day. It's not a constant. All right. So when I say vary upon the time of the day, during the daytime there's no Mount Coffee available. Zero. All we have is what we get from our generators, our thermal generators, and the 25 megawatts from Côte d'Ivoire. That's what we have. And you can look at somewhere around 45 megawatts is what we have during the day. In the evening, add another 18 megawatt from one of the turbines to that amount, and you will know what we have during peak hours. And that will run you for only 4 hours from the time we put it on.
So, Mr. Captain,
Yes.
if you have 10 megawatt
Yes.
and you're using 3
Yes.
in gasoline,
Yeah.
the question I'm trying to ask is, why when I'm using full capacity so as to supply and reduce money, power tech?
We are using every capacity we have currently.
And that's what I'm learning to.
Yes.
So, my final question before the last. All the things we're talking about, how can we solve the NDC problem? How can we solve distribution and supply, stability?
Yes.
Because all the things we're talking here, the only thing our people want here outside there and low. And all of us in here,
Yeah, in session.
after all these speeches, questions and
Yes, take a
answers,
look at.
how can we find a solution to this thing? Question before the last one.
Yeah. First, I just want to make a point, and that is,
Please do.
it is in LEC's interest to generate power and sell it, because that's where we make our money. There is no way I'm going to have electricity and I don't sell it, or how do I make money? So I just want you to know that it is in our interest to supply the maximum that we can, because it directly impacts our revenue. Now, on the solution, my answer is not going to be encouraging to you, but there is no solution that we're going to take and it will solve the problem overnight. It doesn't exist. What we should have been planning 10 years ago that we didn't plan, we're trying to fix that problem today, and we won't be able to fix it today, unfortunately. Now, even if you give me $20 million right now and say bring one more generator, they have to design it, it has to be manufactured to our specs, they have to test it, ship it, At the end of the day, even with the money, it will take you 2.5 years to have that generator here. So, one of the things that we need to do, and we've been discussing it, is trying to see how we can look for additional markets to buy electricity from. The immediate solution, have someone available that can sell the electricity to us. Whether they come
Cleaning privatization or what?
no, an IPP, an independent power producer. Someone come, let's say a company comes set up in Buchanan. They're ready. LEC, we got
All that shit.
So like
that's an example of an immediate solution.
Now we.
That's an example.
Okay. So let me close up. Mr. Captain.
Yeah.
Did you refuse nomination and appointment from the president of Liberia recently? Question.
Again, I'm very happy to answer that question, but I will not do it in front of the press. No, I cannot answer that in front of, excuse me. No, it's not a part of management issue. If I answer it in camera, you understand why.
Why you
I'm
let
saying
camera
that.
be there when energy off?
That question is denied.
Oh, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, but you
Yes,
discuss
sir.
it.
Okay, so the question denied. Let me replace it.
Thank you for being fair.
You were board chair and at the same time chief executive officer. Correct?
Yes.
My colleague asked, probably I didn't get the answer. In good governance practices, did you think that was prudent for you to be board chair, though you did not appoint yourself, and at the same time chief executive officer of the same entity? We by law to have a board chair for somebody else, and the CEO appointed with different functions, and the CEO should report to the board. But good governance practices,
I believe you are asking me a personal question because I did not see myself here.
I made it very clear, though you did not appoint yourself.
Yes, so I'll answer that from a personal perspective. And let me start first by saying that the concept of an executive chairman, one who both chairs the board and exercise management, is nothing new in corporations. It's a common thing. As a matter of fact, if you look at your Central Bank of Liberia today,
Thank you.
this legislature passed a law making the governor also the chairman of the board of governors.
Yes.
I'm saying that you ask a question,
Captain.
but why do you ask questions you don't want to answer?
No, sir, I passed 2 laws here when me I come for this institution, what I inherited or not. The Central Bank Act expressly says so. Does the LEC Act expressly say so? Question.
You ask a question on judgment.
No, not on judgment. Your own example.
Yes.
That because Central Bank has similar thing,
Yes.
it is plausible at LEC.
That's why my portfolio as CEO was acting CEO.
So, sir, the question I ask you, if you answer again, if you choose not to,
I don't choose not to because the law
No,
is
that's
not
right.
something that's hidden. The law is there.
which law in LEC that the chairman of the
No, that's not what I'm saying. I say the answer to your question is in the law.
Which law?
The act creating LEC.
The act creating LEC provide for chairman of the board and at the same time somebody who is managing.
No, it
director.
does not. And we know that this is a rhetorical question.
No, it's not rhetorical. Sir, it's not rhetorical.
So
The act creating LEC does not say the chairman of the board can be managing director or CEO at the same time. The act creating the Central Bank of Liberia provides for that. You don't make such examples or references when they don't apply similarly.
You asked me as a personal opinion. You did not ask me on a legal basis or according to the statute. Your question was, in your opinion, do you think this is good practice? That was your question.
And
if you asked me what the act said, I would tell you that. The act has no. The act has a chairman and it has a head of management. There are 2 separate positions. It's in the act.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman and you.
Thank you.
Will resolve the issue.
That's a
Still have
fact.
a meeting in camera, you know that.
No, when camera. LEC can be out of camera.
Senator Maguire, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me apologize that I have come very late. You know this LEC issue is a serious issue, and that's the reason why I wanted the LEC issue, but I want to thank.
Senator Maguire, please take 3 minutes.
Let me get 5 minutes.
You see, man, 3 minutes.
Filibuster, go ahead.
I agree, but I give the chairman 3 minutes. The reason why I have great interest in the LSE discussion because I had opportunity to sit in the executive and I've dealt with the LSE issue on so many occasions. So I have a deep knowledge on some of the things I have a knowledge I have when it comes to being CEO. But that's the prerogative of the new government to act otherwise. Let me ask you, Mr. Captain. I've been listening. Some of the questions I want to ask my colleague, ask him the questions. Are you saying from the answer the last one, the last hour, what is the solution that can solve Liberia electricity problem? Your answer was there's no solution, correct?
No, that's not what I sorry, that's not what I meant. I said that if we want to solve this problem now, we have to buy electricity from whoever has it to sell. But the question is, what are the terms? And can we accept or afford the terms?
Okay, Mr. Captain, Senator Chair raised the issue of car power. What is the current fee for Amigo Wire Liberia?
24 cents a kilowatt.
But car power offering something that's 16 cents, correct?
I'm not, yeah, they offer 16 cents here. So my question would be, Senator, if car power offers 16 cents, the current price is 24 cents. Who pays that 16 cents? Is it the consumer or is the Liberian government going to subsidize that 16 cents? That's the question we need to ask ourselves.
So you talk about privatization. One of the major problems we see that there have been a serious controversy between the private people and LECs is that LEC control the national grid, correct? Is LEC going to allow the private sector to use that grid?
Of course, yes.
How? Because there have been some opposition to LEC because of grid. There have been a lot of opposition. I know a lot of companies like Liberia want to do private sector thing, and we have a problem with LEC and they don't know.
Can I respond to that? Can I respond to that?
Yeah, Mr. Captain,
I think it's not a question of anybody wanting to use the grid. These companies that are coming, that are saying that they're IPPs, the condition for coming to Liberia is that LEC must sign an agreement with them for 25 years that they will buy all of the electricity they produce. That's the condition for them to come. They're not coming and saying, you put up a plan.
If you say, Mr. Captain, if LEC issue is a serious issue, and everybody wants current, if the government cannot generate the sufficient current for the people to have, and somebody is saying, give me 16 cents, and government still going to pay, and you say government is like, why can't you discuss the government and the government should be able to pay these people and provide current? And so we don't have sufficient current to sell.
Honorable Senator, recognizing that we are in an energy crisis, I strongly recommend that we discuss this car power issue in camera so that we all understand the issues. Because I hate to keep appearing like I'm dodging the issues, but there are some things that I would not want to reveal that's going to be the subject of social media and everything else there. And some of it is confidential.
The other issue we look at that, public perception about LSE. Do you agree it's very bad?
Yes, I agree.
Do you also agree that it's because of lack of maybe publicity, we're not talking much to the public?
No, I don't think so. No matter what we say to them, if you in your house and the power goes off, you're going to have a negative perception. Whether we say anything on any radio station, I don't know. Okay. People respond to their current conditions.
But okay, one of the things I want to ask you, what has LSE done in developing the infrastructure in this community? Take for example, Coward, where we have a massive demonstration against LSE because there's no infrastructure to deliver electricity to them. Why have you done to deliver that?
Electrification, public investment in electrification is not the responsibility of the utility or the management. It's the responsibility of the government. And there has been no investment in there. I can sell tokens to build transmission networks and substations. That investment has to come as public investment.
Do you feel that that's one of the major issues?
It is a major issue, and that's why I'm hoping, I've said that we need to take it up as a government to address this problem.
Have LC made a recommendation to the government that it's a major problem? Because you can even have 200 megawatt or 10,000 or 1 million megawatt. If you can deliver it to the public, that's going to be a serious problem.
So right? Just to tell you, on LEC home, this year we connected 7,000 homes just out of using part of our operational funds. Money that we used, that we took to buy, that we got from selling tokens. We connected 7,000 homes in 2023. And our own resources, and we have a gap of 27,000 homes in Monrovia right now that needs to be connected. Okay, and that requires somewhere around $12.5 million to do that. But if you look at our budget, I don't think we'll see anything in there that is supposed to support this.
So you think it's because of that, that's a major obstacle in terms of delivering current to the community?
I think if any country that don't invest, any country that don't invest in this electricity infrastructure will eventually face this problem.
So you think,
and you will face it to the extent that when you do decide to invest, you will not get value for your money because you will be investing in an emergency situation where when you should have spent $5, you will be spending $25.
So you don't think government is a good investment for government to make?
We have to start yesterday. We have to start.
Well, look, I'm a little bit confused when you say we'll not get a return. Are you saying the government made an investment and the government not going to get a return?
It will. It will, absolutely. If we didn't get a return, we wouldn't have connected 7,000 homes this year. And we went to communities all over. And you won't believe the impact it makes. You go to a community, we engage them, and we tell them we're going to connect 600 homes. You go there, and that entire place is dark. We connect them in 1 week at an intersection. There are shops, there are markets, there are all-night activities. It transforms the place overnight. You cannot believe what you're looking at. And we need to roll this out on a national level. But if somebody will say, wait until LEC get the money to do all of that, it's not going to happen.
Then we need to bring private sector in there.
I agree.
I
agree, but I'm not the one who will bring the private sector. I agree. But every private sector that coming in, they're coming with conditions. That's why I said some of these things we need to discuss in camera, and then we really understand what this proposal looks like.
Because see, one of the things I do love the camera issue, but one of the things I'm trying to avoid is that the public needs to know, because look, every issue has become a security issue in this country. If the evidence are there, they will see people demonstrating. People demonstrating doing a lot of things on several occasions. So we need to find a way to solve the everything issue. And I think, because look, this thing is leading to the issue of death. Look at the allegation of somebody that someone allegedly killed because of LC theft issue. I mean allegedly because the investigation is still going on. But people start demonstrating. So we gotta try to solve this problem. It's not a problem that we gotta keep in house. Because people need to know. Because it's not about us, the policy, because the people who are receiving it, the ordinary Liberian who are LC in their community. The chairman, you, because you just look at me, you want me to stop. There's a serious conversation.
Thank you for giving.
Just briefly.
3 minutes.
I mean, that is enough for me. Maybe depending on his answer. But, Mr. Captain, good afternoon.
The light on. Got it on. Okay.
Okay.
My name is Senator Tifon Smith from Riverside. You are under oath. Is it true that Agro was selling current to Ivory Coast?
The word selling.
That word?
That word selling is not an accurate term. Let me explain what happens. During the rainy season, the load changes, and it changes just by somebody putting the AC on or turning a washing machine on and drying. So we don't have a constant load. Certain time of the day, what we generate among coffee exceeds what we are consuming. So we have an excess. That excess, whenever we have an excess, is injected into the CLSG line. Now the meter that we have is a net metering system. So whatever we inject and what comes in, the meter reading is the net of the two. So it's not like we have a commercial arrangement to sell electricity to Ivory Coast or anything. It's just a net metering where, say at 4 o'clock in the day, you might have an excess of 1 megawatt, 2 megawatt, 3 megawatt. It goes into the system. But when the CLSG one comes in, it nets it out. And this is what we reported. So in the past dry season last year, rainy season, we had excess. And over the rainy season, we generated somewhere of about $800,000 in savings on net metering.
The chairman gave me specific time, so my next question, and I guess you will want to put it in camera. You think it is fair for you to be the producer and distributor?
When you ask that question, the first thing I have to say is that when LEC was created, the act that created LEC decided what LEC would do. They gave it the powers and the mandate. I've only been in charge of LEC 1.5 years. I didn't create the conditions.
Okay, but before you go ahead, 2015 law, what did they say?
The 2015 laws, the 2015 laws,
what will be the rule?
It liberalizes it, but it doesn't take away LEC right to distribute and generate. It just says you don't have exclusive right. So I am not the one approving someone else coming into the country to do distribution or to do generation. Not LEC that license. LEC has no say. That decision, the application is lodged with LERC. And just as much as they license LEC, they license someone else. So there's nothing wrong with having LEC running Mount Coffee and somebody else running another hydro or generator.
Eventually, LEC will be the transmission company according to the 2015 law we passed. Eventually. I'm sure you are aware of that. There's a purpose for that, and there's a purpose for that question you asked.
Yeah. As I said before, LEC is owned by the government. That's the shareholder. When it comes to divestiture, it's not management that will make that decision, it's the shareholder.
Okay, I finished. Yeah, I'm just making so you, yeah, so so we talk about LEC, debt. We don't mention the income. Can you talk a little bit about how much LEC generates? Talk about the whole financial.
No, I did pass in the documents that are shared. The LEC financials are in there. This document is last page.
Okay. So on a little bit, summarize for us. Summarize for us the financials.
So on the financials, the total energy revenue in 2022 was 22.6 million. LEC total cost of operation was 32 million. We had a loss of $23 million at the end of the year. That was 2022. 2023, we had a total energy sales of 54 million. Of that amount, we had a total direct cost of 46.9 million and total indirect of 16. creating a loss of 11.6. This year, we are projecting 83.2 million, but that was on the assumption that we would have 50 megawatt additional energy to sell with a loss of about 10 million. And when I call this total energy sales amounts, these amounts are not actual cash that we collect. So if I sell $8 million to the government for this year, I have to report it as revenue, although I don't collect it. So it's not a cash basis accounting that's provided for these figures.
So what was the loss?
The cost of the loss is that the cost of operation is higher than your revenue. What it costs to generate the electricity. For instance, if 1 kilowatt hour of electricity from our generators costs us 26 cents. We sell commercial 22 cents, we sell residential 24 cents, and we sell social tariff of 15 cents. So that's a loss. Just running generators, you're already incurring a loss.
Listen, when I ask the question, I'll ask it to you. Why do you give prepaid meters to the private people and government don't do the same thing? Why can't give them a prepaid meter so that they don't owe you?
Well, part of it is to stay out of jail. I'm just kidding. But Honorable, we approached the government and we gave them the list of all of the government entities, and we told them, please designate to us which ones we can put on prepaid meters. Because we, to go out, without the political backing. If I send my people just at the residential area for the police, or I don't know what to call that street there. No, right here.
Bypass?
The barracks, the police, yeah, by the
Just
bypass there. They all arrested my people. If I send someone here to change your meter to prepaid or the JFK, and that's why we say it's the government that should decide. Tell us which ones should be prepaid and which ones should be postpaid. Because the problem with having a postpaid meter, there's no limit to consumption. If somebody decides to leave all the appliances on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there's no way to prevent that. But if there's a meter that is the money is going to finish and will go off, it will control consumption and it will control the government indebtedness. And this is something I hope we can get support from both the administration and the legislature so that we can implement this and lower the government costs. Because I believe that a lot of the money government has to pay is wasted. Some areas you go, you can have some ministries where the entire neighborhood, someone in the generator house connected them. And so you pay your bill, but everybody else bill.
At the meeting you referred to where you were referred by the president, there was another decision that the chief operating officer would be expatriate.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Is he still here?
Yes, sir.
Always going to expire, and can we found like prevent to do the same job?
Yeah, part of his contract and mandate is to mentor his replacement, his successor. So I think he has 1 more year on his contract.
Well, that's another question came out.
I think we're ending there.
Thank you. Mr. Captain. Okay. The Mount Coffin Hydro has a 8 megawatt capacity, installed capacity. But you mentioned that one of the turbines is disabled. When did that happen?
It happened when ESBI was managing LEC, and we also had a Swiss company operating HOI, Hydro International.
Just a year. In what year did the turbine go up?
It's been almost 3 years now.
Okay. Is there any reason why we haven't repaired that?
Cost.
What is the cost?
The estimated cost, the most recent one is 6.5 million euros.
Okay.
But I should update that we have now secured the financing for that from the World Bank. So we are now in the procurement process.
So it seems like, sorry guys, it seems like the World Bank, our future, our energy future is in the hands of the World Bank and other people. So I highlight this maybe the budget is before us and we can have that conversation. It's important. We have a hydro that is not at full capacity, and we're talking about building a new hydro. If the turbine can be out for more than 2 years, decreasing the capacity in addition to the low water level, to me, that's a serious problem. The thermal plant in Bush Road, the installed capacity is 38 megawatts, correct? Yeah. But maybe about only 25 is operational now, correct? With a deficit of 13 megawatts.
28. 28 is, okay, let me give you the picture of it. We have 10 megawatts, which was provided by the World Bank. Those generators are not in operation right now because there is a problem on it. We're actually repairing it as we speak, and it should be ready in another week or two. But the problem with those generators, they run on diesel. So there's 10 megawatt on diesel, which is significantly more in terms of cost than the HFO plants. Then we have 18 megawatts of HFO that was bought by the government of Liberia, Watsila plant. Those two 18 megawatt plants, when we took over a year and a half ago, were out of operation. We had to overhaul them, and both of them started working. One of them went down for a spare part. We ordered it, and it arrived over the weekend, and they were putting it back. And then we have 10 megawatts supplied by JICA, which is the Japanese development agency. And those are two plants. They are 5 megawatts each. One of them is operational. One of them developed problems just about 2 weeks ago, and the Japanese advised us to shut it down until they find out the cause of it.
Okay, so I asked this question from our colleagues to understand that there's another dimension here that has to do with maintenance and paying attention to details on the technical side, so that these machines, these engines don't go out. And they've been out now for more than 2 years. The hydro, one turbine, and like Mr. Captain just said, 2 of the thermal plants are out. So, we can understand why this is not only attributable to just the water level, but also faulty parts or faulty machines that are there and have not been serviced for some time.
Well, that's why I said, when we took over, not one generator was working. We spent $2 million on overhauling those machines, and the only reason we have generators now working is because of the work that we did in preparation for the dry season.
I understand that. I understand that. I just wanted to highlight it. Maybe it may not be your fault, but it's a management problem from previous management. Then the government of Liberia appropriated about 40 million?
46 million.
How much was disbursed to you?
8 point something million.
Out of 46?
Yeah. And it was not disbursed directly, it was paid to Cote d'Ivoire.
Cote d'Ivoire?
Yeah.
Okay. I have 2 more questions. So, on March 30th, 2023, LEC entered into a 5-year distribution asset assignment and power supply agreement with LIB Energy, for the operation of the electricity network in Maryland and Grand Prairie. On October 1st of last year, LEC and LIB Energy signed an amended agreement for 15 years and an optional 5-year extension, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So in the said agreement, amended agreement, LEC waived 75%, 50%, and 25% of the bills due the corporation from LIB Energy for October, November, December 2023, respectively. Why did you do so when the company is unable to pay its supplier in Ivory Coast?
When we turned over the territory to LIB Energy and also Jungle Energy, one of the first things that you have to realize is that when you turn over, they're not physically taking over everything. So you have energy consumption going on. And many of the customers in that entire area have no meters. So they needed a mobilization period to meter customers so that they would start to collect the energy bill. So it would have been unfair to them, say from day one, start paying 100% of all the electricity that is being used by 3 counties, which was Rivers, Grand Chile, and Maryland. So we had to give them a mobilization period where gradually it comes to where they now assume 100% of the bill, and that was why that was done.
I hope my colleagues understand the concept there, but I'm finding it difficult, especially when you are in the hole to do that. But I will come to my next question because we're running out of time. You mentioned somewhere along the line that we expected about 50 megawatts from the CLSG line, but they did not come because of our obligation to them.
No, I think it was both a combination.
Okay.
The fact that, because I believe even if we have the money, give it to them now, we're not going to get 50.
Because they have the same problem there.
Yeah.
Okay, so just tell us, what can we do to support you and the institutions so that this problem does not recur in the future? Because it's happening every year. What is the solution? What can you tell this committee that we need to, you talk about working together, that we need to work together on 1, 2, 3 concrete things so that we don't have to come back to this again?
And while you're answering with the permission of the chair, please speak to the issue about fire or what you been attributed to LEC current.
The what?
Fire.
Oh, fire, yeah.
Fire on homes and other places.
So yeah, that's the, yeah.
And an update on the Liberian citizen who lost his life regarding power theft.
Can I answer this first? Since it's an easy answer. Okay. Yeah, so the one of the citizen that lost his life in that unfortunate incident, the matter is before the police. They're investigating it. There are some suspects in custody, and we're all waiting for the police investigation report to come out. On the question of fire, every house that LEC connects, before that house is connected, it must have a breaker. Once there's an increase, a surge in voltage, that breaker trips, which means that it does not allow electricity, there are no more electrons can flow into the line. It cuts you off completely. There are a lot of homes, a lot of houses that have bypass, they don't have breakers. And so when there's a surge in voltage, there's no protection. It goes directly into the house. Even some people have what you call a switch over. Yeah, they switch over from generator to or whatever to electricity without a breaker. And if you don't put a breaker in there, again, as you switch over, you're basically allowing this flow into your house. So all of the protection elements that should be there are removed once you bypass the installation that is done by the company. Another factor that also contributes is the use of substandard wires. And we don't regulate the quality of wire that come into the country.
Who does?
I don't know. It's not LEC.
Don't you think LEC should do something awareness? This is good information. This is good education.
As a matter of fact, we issued a joint statement with the Liberian National Fire Service on even preventions and things that they should do. But
one-time statement won't cut it. You want to do regular awareness?
We know that. Thank you.
To respond to the question you just asked about the substandard wires, it's a problem. And so we've developed regulations and are working with the Ministry of Commerce to put that in place and make sure that all the companies that bring wire into the country meet the standards that we set.
Do you have the enforcement capacity? At my house the other day, please, it almost got fire there. I had to change the whole wire because it was due to the wire. I put the picture in our Senate chapter. If I didn't have fire extinguisher, my house would have been on fire. So this is important. It's not just me, it's about the poor people who can afford fire extinguishers and so on and so forth. To enforce this, maybe at the port of entry, through Commerce or whoever, so that we can save lives.
There's also another dimension to that, and that is the technicians we are using. There are people who don't have the right skills, they're just learning, and people use it. No, not everybody in LEC. But LEC has their own bad people too. That one where our bad apples are there. But so a lot of people, if I'm someone who don't have the income and I have a small house, I don't have the money, I'll probably look for the cheapest electrician I can find. And he might be mixing wires up in my ceiling, and I don't even know what's going to happen at the end of the day.
Public awareness,
Yes,
public
I
education through LEC, regular.
Okay, to my question, to build a new hydro in 7 years, even if we were to give you money to buy a new generator, it will take about 2 years to build it to our specs. Meanwhile, we have Mount Coffee, we have Bushra, then we're dealing with the CLSG problem. So in reality, before the solar plant can come online, we still have the same infrastructure. How do we avoid this from happening next dry season and the next dry season until we bring the new stuff online?
And that is to attract an independent power producer into the country, and we set up, they will make the investment in the generation plant. And we buy directly from them during this period. And we can talk about terms and conditions, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. How much are they going to charge? What kind of guarantees they want? What are the terms they're requesting? But that's the lowest hanging fruit in terms of addressing this problem.
Okay, finally for me, the LEC Act, the act that created the LEC, calls for an MD, a board MD, a deputy for administration, deputy for corporation or technical services.
Sir, there is a disagreement as to which act we can reference.
Okay.
I have one version of the act that does not have that. Someone has another version of the act. Then there's an amendment to that, and there seems to be a disagreement on that. What the act that I have says that LEC management will be headed by an executive officer that will be appointed by the president with the advice and consent of the Senate. They break down into DMDs and all of that. I've only seen that in some bylaws, some outdated bylaws. That's where I've seen it. Now, I think we need to do more research to get to the bottom of this. But the reason that we have a different structure in place, the deliverables under the management service agreement was to rebuild LEC and align LEC to best practices in utilities. And so what ESBI did was basically replicate their management structure in terms of the successor team that they trained. And so when they left, the successor team basically moved into their place, and that transition occurred. And this was part of their deliverable. Now I think somewhere along the way, that transition and that structure that was agreed under the MSC as a deliverable should have found its way into some kind of a statute that would have then made it a permanent fixture.
Okay. This is finally for me, please. This is a serious governance issue. We can't find the laws, the structure. So we need to do research here. Hopefully it will be the committee's recommendation. Colleagues, I want to close by saying that to thank all of you, to thank Mr. Captain and Mr. Takapokani. But the issue of electricity, gentlemen, is an economic issue. It's not personal. It's economic. It's been 20 years since our war ended. We've invested a lot of money into the sector. The economy has not expanded. I just want you to go back. As we go back, think about that. This is my appeal. I'm not closing. You will close. I wrote a letter. Please let me tell you why. If there's anything that we can do, maybe we need to have an energy conference, all the camera stuff and everything. He said there's no policy, there's policy. So we need to sit down and come back to the table and tackle this problem. My auntie is a cool water seller. I bought her a freezer. She's connected to LEC. She has never sold water in the last 2 months. Thank you.
The chairman, if you answer Mr. Captain, it's good for you to answer it because
no,
there'll
the other question will be asked.
be a lot of room in the billion. There'll be a lot of room in the billion. Good for you to answer it. If you don't want to, you are liberty to answer. Are you taking dual pay?
No, never. I've never taken dual pay, never, and I will never do that. And it can be verified. It's not something that is up to me to say yes or no. It can clearly be verified.
Thank you. You answered already no. With the look of things and what you have just explained, it's clear that there will not be additional distribution of electricity in the rural area because you don't have that capacity. Am I correct?
No, sir. Currently, we have a project called the CLSG Rural Electrification Project financed by the African Development Bank. And that project will take electricity from Bututa, which is a CLSG substation, and distribute it to 100 communities from one county all the way to River Cess. And that project is under implementation currently.
So what happened to Kidman? The electricity is
Western Liberia.
Western Liberia. And the army going back all over the place.
You
Found the electricity and you are not distributing the lights. Why?
It's just a funding issue. It's not an intent for...
How much do you need for that to be done?
I can
Because see,
answer that here.
Moria is only occupied by the citizens of Liberia because it's not going to and where you don't have lights. And sometimes when you're driving along the way, you see the lights on the pole, and the people in the community don't have it. What are the hindrances?
Well, I can say to you that the CLSG that was built, it includes 5 substations throughout Liberia. From Yekepa, Bututa, Buchanan, Monrovia, and Mano. Every one of those substations has a link for a future plan to connect rural Liberia. So the Mano substation is sitting there. It's not evacuating electricity anyway, just sitting on.
And that's what I'm asking. When will you start evacuating?
But we have to build the distribution network that we can distribute from there. And the same thing for the Yekepa, for Buchanan, for the various substations, because at the end of the day, the CLSG, those substations and that part of the contract is paid for by Liberia.
Yeah, but remember when you last came here, you told us by August of last year you should have found a contractor, and by now you start distributing electricity in more especially Buchanan and your area.
I didn't commit to Buchanan. Buchanan
you said it was the EU project?
Yeah, it's the EU under the Rural Renewable Electricity Agency.
And you said it was a World Bank project that was going in this direction, and by now you will start.
That's growth of the River.
Yeah.
And that contract has already been awarded. The company has ordered all of the materials, their light poles, conductors, transformers, meters, everything are being shipped to Liberia to start that project.
So hopefully when the people of Glory will start receiving electricity.
I think in 2024 they should see electricity all the way up to Pool River.
We in 2024.
This is 2024.
All right. So the other question, we want to say thank you for coming. We ask that those who are in the back there leave, and then we get in camera. Yes, right here. So thank you for coming. The full estate. Thank you for.
I mean, okay, come on to now, right? Yeah,
Thank you.